Hi grade 7s. This is your Unit 3 Governance Summative Assessment assignment. Since I'm not here with you today to walk you through this, I decided to do it as a video recording instead. So, here's what you're going to be working on today. For the first part of this assignment, you're aiming to address this essential question. How are people's lives affected by how much power they have? So below on the second page of your handout is a graphic organizer that you can use to summarize what you've learned about the questions throughout the unit. This is the graphic organizer here that I'm referring to. It's titled Governance and Power Graphic Organizer. What I want you to do is to record jot notes about what you have learned. I want you to include important words, ideas, and examples from the United States, Canada, and North Korea. I want you to organize your notes according to the attached Governance and Power Graphic Organizer. You're going to use what you have noted in this graphic organizer then to write about the essential question in a short one-page report. Again, the question is, how are people's lives affected by how much power they have? Once you've completed the above activity, you're going to use media resources such as newspapers, magazines, and the internet, as well as other research materials, to compare the governments of Canada with the non-democratic government of North Korea, a Pacific Rim country. For example, you might compare how the two governments are organized and the roles or jobs of leaders at both the local and national levels, how each form of government affects the lives of people, and how each government responds to pressure from its citizens for cultural or political change. Once you've completed your research, I want you to complete the attached Comparing Governments graphic organizer with what you've learned. This graphic organizer can be found on the third page of your handout. This is it here. So the first part you're going to fill out is about Canadian government. You're going to be looking for a definition and explanation of Canadian government. Next, you're going to be discussing the North Korean government. Again, I'm looking for a definition and explanation of their government system. Then, your last step will be to look at the similarities and differences between the two governments. So here, I want you to list all the similarities that you could possibly find between Canada and North Korea. Here, I want you to identify differences between the two. Sure to be thorough and specific in your comparisons of the two government systems. This is very important for you to be able to show me how much you really understand about the differences between government systems that we've discussed in this unit. Finally, one last thing I'd like you to take a look at is at the bottom of your first page of the handout. It says Criteria for Success. This is probably the most important piece of information for you to take a look at before you start this assignment. I want you to take a look at these questions and you should be thinking of them throughout your comparisons. First thing I want you to think, did you consider ways that power is shared, distributed, or limited? Next, did you consider both the strengths and weaknesses of the two governments? Third, did you consider the structures and processes of the two forms of government? Next, did you evaluate the reliability of your sources by considering bias? Are the sources up to date? Is your presentation organized and clear so that comparisons can be made between Canada's government and North Korea? The last thing I would like you to look at is the last page of your handout today. This is the rubric against which your finished product will be evaluated. It's important for you to know what you're being evaluated on in order to understand how best to demonstrate your work. So, first part of the rubric is looking at the inquiry and research that you've done. So, part A, I'm identifying the topic of inquiry. So here I'm looking to see if you've explained the relevance of the problem or issue and that you understand that problem or issue. So here's a breakdown of what I'll be looking for. The highest level you can achieve is a 4. So for a 4, I would expect to see that you have explained why the problem or issue is important in depth, and that you've explained the background of the problem or issue going on beyond what's presented in class. Next is researching the inquiry. So I want to look at how many sources you're actually using in your research process. So for the highest level that you could achieve on the rubric, you would be researching in depth and evaluating multiple sources of information related to the task. You'd be considering different perspectives and identifying bias in the information that you're using. Next is your knowledge and understanding of the core outcomes of this unit. For your highest level of achievement here, you're going to be explaining and giving several examples going beyond what was presented in class of the sources of power for individuals and nations of North Korea, the US, and Canada, and you'd be demonstrating a high degree of understanding of the structures and processes of a democracy, oligarchy, and dictatorial system of government. Finally, it's the communication of your ideas. So I'm looking at how you are able to express your ideas. This is the conventions, vocabulary, and terminology or words that you're using in your description of what you know. So here for the highest level of achievement, you would be using conventions, vocabulary, and terminology in various appropriate media to communicate results in depth. In other words, I'm looking to see whether or not you are able to use the new words that we've learned throughout this unit to apply it in the appropriate manner and to apply it to multiple contexts throughout the research that you've done. So, that's your final project for our unit on governance. The assignment is due next week, Wednesday, April the 20th. You will have all of our classes between now and then to complete this assignment. If you feel as though you might need some time to work on it at home, you are more than welcome to do so. If you have any further questions about this assignment, please feel free to ask me or to send me an email between now and our next class if you'd like to get working on it at home. Until I see you again, good luck today, and please put in your very best effort.